Hello, and welcome to another 5-Minute Fridays from CDH. I'm David Tappan, and I am back for a second week in a row to talk to you about some of the things that we learned week before last at SharePoint Conference North America. It was a pretty exciting conference, and Microsoft introduced a lot of new features. I have to say that I haven't seen this much excitement in a SharePoint conference in quite a while. It really seems like there's a new energy, and rumors of SharePoints being somehow becoming outmoded or not Microsoft's focus are greatly exaggerated. In fact, they're wrong. It's clear that Microsoft's making a big investment in SharePoint in a multitude of different areas. Last week I talked about some of those changes with SharePoint lists and libraries and hub sites. Today I'm going to focus on just one thing, which was probably the biggest surprise at the conference, which we saw at the keynote address, and that is SharePoint Spaces. So SharePoint Spaces is not out yet. I don't know how long it's going to be till it is out, but it's definitely something that they were able to demonstrate, and I've got some screenshots here to talk to you about what you can do with it. So SharePoint Spaces is a virtual reality, or what they call mixed reality environment that you can work in SharePoint. And like most things in SharePoint, it's incredibly easy to use, and you don't have to be a developer or do anything, have any specialized knowledge like that to create some pretty cool solutions in it. But at the same time, of course, if you do want to do something custom, that's always available to you. And there's a lot of possibilities that spring to mind that I'll talk about a little bit later. You create, it's just like any SharePoint page. You come in and you say, okay, I'm going to create kind of a solution. And what we see here on the screen right now is just kind of a screenshot of a sort of a 3D background and then a 3D space, and this is showing kind of a product catalog solution where you can look at the features. And again, I don't have this available to actually show how you can kind of walk around in it, but you can actually zoom in close and look at things from different angles. They're 3D objects, so it's pretty cool. And it's really simple to use it for navigation between applications, so you can have kind of a 3D environment. And again, this is just a sample with the nice mountains in the background, but really you could impose almost any image that you wanted to as your environment. And then you see these little pillars that each one of them represents navigation to a solution or an application. And let's take a look at one of them. If you want to add one, it's literally, as you can see, similar interface to adding a web part to a page, and you can connect to all kinds of content, from SharePoint lists and libraries to image libraries to data, all kinds of content. So now this is literally a spreadsheet visualization of a chart in a 3D environment, one that you could walk around and look at the different elements of it. So that's kind of neat. Now, if you want to walk around in it, and of course you want to fully experience it, you can experience it just looking at it on a screen in a computer monitor. But the best way to do it is to get yourself some VR goggles and one of these pointing devices, and that allows you to really move around and interact in the environment. So, like, for example, here's a solution where it's just pointing at your contacts list and allowing you to sort of interact with different contacts and drill in on them using the pointer tool. Now, I thought, and a lot of people thought, well, okay, this is just a page that's been put onto a curved surface. That doesn't seem particularly exciting. And the 3D catalog is, it's showing you a bunch of catalog objects that you can walk around, and that's cool. But how much better is that really than just looking at them in a normal sort of web-based catalog? Remember, this is a sample, and this is early days on this application, and it is a custom development environment. So one thing you should know is it's based on WebGL, which is an open source standard for graphics. And that means that if you create, for example, a model, a 3D model of something, you can import it in and use that as your environment. So for example, you can imagine using, like for example, Google SketchUp. You can create a 3D model of an environment like this one, and you can actually import that into SharePoint Spaces, and now you can imagine building solutions like virtual tours for, real estate, or, for universities. I've been doing a lot of virtual tours looking at colleges with my daughter, and boy, it would be really cool if you could do it this way. You can imagine building solutions where you have an inventory of art that you're trying to sell, and you could have a gallery where you could go around and look at it and look at a sculpture from all sides. So there's really a lot of options that you can imagine building into this. So again, it's pretty basic so far, but the potential is unlimited, and I am really looking forward to seeing this come out. So keep your eyes out for it. I wish I had a release date, but when we know, you'll know. Anyway, thanks again, and join us again next Friday for 5 Minute Fridays with CDH.